Hi everyone, Miranda here. I wanted to do a quick video today and do a little bit of myth busting around some pelvic floor stuff that I hear about a lot, just kind of when I'm out in the world as well as in my practice. And that is about the phrase specifically, I have a tiny bladder. So I hear that a lot. You know, I've got a baby bladder. It's super small, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that today. And so where does that come from? So inside of our bladder, we have what are called stretch receptors, and their job is to signal the brain that the bladder is full. So when it gets to its maximum capacity, it sends a signal to our brain and it's like, hey, we gotta go, we got some urgency, we gotta do this. But what can happen is when we do a lot of what I call just in case pees, so you're gonna leave the house, you go just in case, or you're about to get a massage, so you go just in case, even if you really don't have to go to the bathroom, we start to train those stretch receptors to think that they are at kind of that big stretched out capacity before they actually are. And so then what happens when we have our bladder being only partially full, the stretch receptors signal our brain and say, hey, we're all full up down here, we gotta go. And it makes us feel that urge sooner than we should. So what do we do about that? So typically you should be going to the bathroom every 2 to 4 hours. That's kind of like the normal typical frequency that we try to aim for as far as urination goes. So if you're going more frequently than that, it could be that you've trained yourself or you've trained your bladder that you need to go more often than you actually do. And so if that's you, and that's something that you kind of experience on a regular basis, my suggestion to you is to try to start doing a little bit of toilet retraining with yourself. And so that can be a little bit challenging, especially if you're experiencing some stress incontinence. So when you do have that like intense urgency, feels like you really have to go, and you feel like you're gonna have a little bit of leakage, that can be a little bit hard to do when you're out in the world. So I would say start slow and small when you're at home. Try to time yourself. You know, I went to the bathroom, it was only 45 minutes ago, it was only an hour ago, I'm starting to have a little bit of urge. Try taking some deep diaphragmatic breaths like we talked about in another video, and try to relax everything down in your pelvic floor and see if you can stretch out that time a little bit more and slowly build yourself up a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Now, the opposite end of that spectrum, people who hold it too long, they talk about themselves being camels, they can hold it for 8 hours. That's not great either. And the reason for that is our bladder itself has a muscle that wraps around the top of it. It's called the detrusor muscle. And what happens is when we go to the bathroom and relieve ourselves, our pelvic floor relaxes, it opens that sphincter around our urethra, and then the detrusor muscle squeezes around the bladder to help empty and void. And so when we hold too long, you know, like 6, 7, 8 hours, what happens is that muscle can become overstretched, and then it's not functioning properly either. It can be weakened, it can be damaged, it can lead to all kinds of complications, sometimes, you know, ending in things like needing catheters and that sort of thing to start draining your bladder appropriately. So we don't want that either. So again, good hydration is important. Make sure you're drinking, you know, your water throughout the day. Every 2 to 4 hours is your goal for bathroom trips. And if you're having more or less than that, maybe that's something that we can help you out with. I hope this was helpful. Have a great day, guys.